All right, last half hour on a Thursday. Time to go to Seattle and find out what in the wide world of sports is going on, because the grip factor, I'm sure, is very large. We bring in our friend Nico Moreno, Pulso Sports. So is the grip factor very large, sir?
What's going on, John? The grip factor.
Is everybody gripping? Are they clutching? Are they gripping at pearls? Where is it after what happened last night? What is the grip factor? How is it? DEFCON 5? Is it scramble the bombers, get sack on the line? We're at DEFCON 5, and you just launch all the missiles and everything. Where is it with what happened last night with the Austin and Seattle?
Yeah, man, it's DEFCON 5, is panic buttons, and it's alarms, is called the United Nations. Let's get something, trying to find a binding resolution for whatever it is that's going on. Because, hey, I don't know how much farther this team can continue to spiral out of control.
Wow.
And continue business as usual. And I'm sorry, SDH family. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's good.
Oh, yeah.
I am on my second cup of coffee. Uh, Definitely came home and caught up on some other MLS games just to do something different, right? And I was able to watch a couple of games. But yes, after watching what was allegedly 28,000 plus at Lumen Field per the attendance that was announced, because it felt like
Well,
20
yeah, but
in
it's
that
sold. It's
stadium.
tickets sold, not butts and seats. Yeah.
Yes, so tickets sold, butts and seats might have been
Yeah.
20, and that's being generous, because it just felt dire, man. I mean, it just did not look good. And to be frank, guys, everyone, that first half was a hard watch. I mean, I've been to a lot of Sounder games, and that first half between the Sounders and Austin was a hard watch. Austin was the better team. Seattle was extremely lucky that they came off that first half 0-0. I thought that they had no intentionality. I thought that they were lost. I heard Brian talk about a diamond in the midfield, or changing it up in that first half. I haven't rewatched the game yet. I haven't really had the time to do so yet. But if it was a diamond, it was maybe a Dorito, but it was not a diamond. I mean, that was as bad of a game as I can remember. I mean, the team looked completely disjointed once again. I have no doubt in my mind that Brian set it up wrong this time around. Like, he got it wrong. I mean, he absolutely did, because once he changed it up in the second half, once they played the way they've been playing, in terms of at least their concepts, their principles, and their formation, there seemed to be a better understanding. He, pushed up the line of confrontation. Brian did. They high pressed better, and the game kind of shifted in the second half, and they were able to get some opportunities. I talked to Facundo Torres after the game, and he said, "Look, they started off the second half a lot better than we did, and then we had to adjust. And I think we ended up getting the win because of a couple of really good moments, and that's kind of what happened. But man, if I'm Brian Smetzer and I'm looking at that tape, I'm grabbing those tactics from that first half, burning them, and never ever talk about them ever again."
Goes by Facundo Torres and Guillermo Biro, 66 and 87. Stu Hawkins gets a goal in the 90th, 2-1 the final. Starting 11, it was Andrew Thomas, left to right, Nuhu, Jackson Reagan, Kim Kee-hee, and KKR. Then you had Gomez and Alex Roldan in front of them. They were the two elements, the bottom of the Dorito were Gomez and Roldan. I guess Rusnak was the point of the Dorito there. Attack, Rothrock, Rusnak, Kingston, and then Danny Musovsky up top. And I mean, it sounds like the Hawkins goal was kind of an oh, by the way. It's just like, Austin's in control. They've got the 2-0 lead, and then Hawkins gets one, and then you race back, and you're sitting there and you're trying to you're waving into the crowd and everything. But it seems like, from what you're describing to me, it was more like an oh, by the way, and finished up 2-1 because more of what Austin didn't do instead of what Seattle did.
And yes, that there's a lot of part of that, but there's also once, as I said, in the second half, you kind of adjusted and you shifted and you played differently. Not only did you start off good, but you ended excellently because Seattle ended up on top of Austin. Austin was asking the referee, "Man, are you going to call this thing or what?" Because the Sounders were really on top of them, especially after the Stu Hawkins goal. So it is unfortunate that even when the team can create some opportunities and even when they have and they look like there's some life there, you still can't get the win. You give Austin their first road win of the year. You're playing the bottom of the West. I mean, in this 8-game losing streak in MLS regular season, you've lost Cascadia matches, you've lost to the worst, you've lost to the best. There's just no ending of it. And look, for your fans and your audience that might not be aware, there is an injury crisis. And you just lost Jesus Ferreira from up to 8 to 10 weeks,
Yep.
according to what we're being told. That could might as well be season ending at this point, because I don't know if he'll come back to any games. I mean, I really can't sit here and tell you that is. So if we're cooked, as they say, why are we not starting to think who is going to be here next year?
Yeah.
Who is going to be a good pillar, a good component moving forward so we can see what they have? Stu Hawkins should have started this game. Kim Ki-hee is 39,000 years old. Love the guy. Very, smart player, great in the locker room. He's had some health issues, but he's not going to be a guy moving forward next year. So give Stu Hawkins some time, some minutes, some very well needed time to continue to get better and grow and do all of these things. Why are we still putting Danny Musovski out there? He was horrible against Vancouver. Danny Musovski was terrible against Vancouver. And you stuck with that guy and you played him once again. And he was uninfluential and unimpactful. And he had, yes, one opportunity. He still can't put it away in the 60th minute. I mean, why? Just if you're going to stick to somebody because you want to start to put more of an 11 together to, it's August, but okay, let's put a consistent 11 together away from the injuries and maybe go with Osase, go with the younger guy. I'm frustrated with the situation. I know it's not all Brian's fault. I know that for a fact, because again, the injuries, lack of signings, it's incredible to me that it's 2 weeks before the end of the transfer window, and we still don't have guys here. And it's not about are they coming, is why are they not here already?
Yeah.
You haven't done anything in the last 5 summers, which is the reason why you are where you are, right? You have not been able to replace Raul or Nico or Obed, and you continue to just dallygag when it comes to the summer window, and you're not doing what everybody else is doing. You're not doing what Vancouver was doing, and picking up guys here and there. You don't got to spend $5 million or 6 or 8 or 10, but spend 3 to 2. Spend 1. I mean, my Lord, that's all I want is just 1, right? And just continue to make your roster better. And so it's difficult, man. It's real difficult to look at this Sounders team and figure out when and how they're gonna get better. Christian Roldan, Hassani Dotson, and Jordan Morris are getting close. Brian teased them for Cincinnati. They're not going to play against Cincinnati. They're not going to play against Cincinnati. I really don't know when they're going to play next. Christian Roldan might be the one that's farthest along, but is that enough? I don't know. They got 2 players coming in. I think I'm close to the one that they're locking in. Great. That's awesome. I mean, that should have been done a couple of weeks ago, but whatever. You're going to bring him in. Is that going to? I don't think so, man. You lost De La Vega. You lost Jesus. We're trying to figure out what's going on with the rest of the guys. I don't see how this is going to get any better.
And you mentioned Cincinnati. You're a plus 301 heading to Cincinnati on Saturday night, and they're a minus 143. And unless somebody basically puts Evander in a Waymo and the Waymo goes nuts and doesn't get him to TQL, you're going to have to face that with that back line of yours.
It should be plus 400. I mean, it really makes me uncomfortable to think how bad you're gonna get beat if Cincinnati throws out their big dogs out there. If Vander's on a tear, uh, Kevin Denke is gonna just manhandle you because you have nobody that's physical enough in that back line. Love Stu, he's gonna be great, but man, that's a grown man coming at you like a freight train. He looks like he should be in the UFC. I mean, Rampage out there. And so, who's gonna be able to really put there? You have so many game changers and so many game winners in Cincinnati. I mean, it's going to take a real miracle on ice, like, Brian likes to quote, because I just don't see it. It's just not going to be in the cards. And it is not just defensively, but, on offense, the team look, again, disjointed. The transition moments are slow. I mean, slow transitions and ineffective, and there is misunderstandings and there is miscommunications, and man, it's bad. It's bad out here.
19 goals in 21 goals in 19 matches, so that's a goals for of about 1.1. And I mean, the defense isn't horrible. It's like $1.25 in goals against, but once again, you're at 24 points. You're in the chaos that's going on in the West, 7-13. So 7 teams separated by 4 points right now, either through match day 19, 20, or 21. So yeah, you're in the heart of that chaos, trying to get into the playoffs right now, since Seattle is listed as 12th, the 7th of the 8 teams that are a part of that gaggle trying to get in or stay in the West.
Yeah, and look, you're right. I mean, it's how you started the season mainly that why the numbers probably look that good when it comes to the defense. Oh man, am I frozen? Because that is not the face that you want when I'm frozen. Oh, there it is. But look, that's why I kind of find it funny that look, Paul Rothberg's been getting a lot of heat from people, especially the national media. Like that guy shouldn't be your number one. And it's like, come on, man. Like, that's one of the guys who's actually trying. Like, I get that it's not perfect. I get that it's not a guy that, he could definitely do a lot better when it comes to his services into the box when he hits the end line and stuff. I've heard things on Nuhu. Look, Nuhu had a big boo-boo against Vancouver. But look, without Nuhu, that defense is pretty weak, man. So you have to kind of be thankful that he's out there. I think Doyle say that is the worst soccer he's ever seen Nuhu play. That's a lie. I beg to defer, and we can have a conversation from somebody that has been watching the Nuhu train have his ups and downs ever since he was in Sounders too. So, those are the things that are kind of trying to make it work. There's a lot of young kids like Peter Kingston. I think the Alex Roldan in midfield does give you a little bit of settlement there. There are things that at least you're trying to keep this team from just falling apart every single game, but it's just not good enough. You look at it and you see and you see Cincinnati coming, you see Chicago coming. Chicago's been, great. Lewandowski against this team. I mean, it's difficult to feel like this team is gonna start to get any sort of win. So as you drop in the standings, you start to think, when is it too far to really get back into it? And look, it's MLS. I get it. What you really need is a month of good soccer to fight your way back into the playoffs. And we'll see what these new signings do. Apparently, it's one winger, one striker. Makes sense. Winger is a dire need right now for this team. That's probably where you're going to put most of your resources. And they've targeted a couple of U22 strikers, including one from San Luis, Mike Joyner, that they were unable to finalize because San Luis just wasn't doing it. And so they're trying to make things happen, but just like the medical situation that Brian told us, you can't just change it out of the blue. And I'm not saying that we can do it at the end of the season and maybe it's going to be a whole new program. Just like that, I think that not till next season are you going to have the generational change that you have been um, that you have been ignoring, because you
Yeah.
could have been bringing in pieces little by little, but now you're gonna have to do a complete teardown because you have been so inactive when it comes to this summer windows, and when it comes to windows in general, and bringing in players outside of the academy and Tacoma Defiance. And look, in now you have to do that. So Albert Rusnak's a guy that reconstruct. If you want to open up the DP spot, extend him out, bring him out of the TAM, there's possibilities that you maybe move away from Jordan next season, and you bring somebody else. I mean, there's just going to have to be a whole new remodel of this roster for you to get back into being an elite team, or at least a protagonist in this league.
Yeah, the world's catching up to Seattle, and it's looking pretty ugly right now. Since you mentioned other matches, Colorado knocks off LAFC last night 1-0. Dallas in a 7-goal thriller in at Rio Tinto, 4-3 over RSL. LAG 1-0 in Cali Classico over San Jose. Portland over San Diego FC, 3-1. And then the late game, Houston continues this clean sheet mania with another clean sheet. I think that's 5 in a row now. And they knock off Vancouver at BC Place 1-0. What else stuck with you from yesterday?
Hey, I warned y'all about Houston. Houston, they made the right moves. They have a real dog in Olsen. You saw him just we got that at the end because they didn't get the call. It was just the right attitude, the right players. Franco Negri with a bombazo of a goal. Love what Guilherme can provide you. Bogut's has been good. I mean, that team has been quality, and they get a deserving win over Vancouver. That was a real matchup. That was a good parameter of where they are right now. I think Portland is a team that has found some will and has found some order in their locker room. You're starting to see Velde growing more. He's been, the one light of this team for a very long time in terms of just consistent production, but he looks good. Da Costa seems to be a guy that once again is feeling himself. I mean, look, Portland looks really good. New management, new attitude. I know that San Diego has been kind of shaky, but that's still a good win for Portland. San Jose is another team that's on a free fall. You have Bruce Arena, trying to stay calm in press conferences. And look, this is a team that we, just like the Sounders, funny enough, ironically enough, there was a point in the season when you were like, oh, they have all the Burners coming, and when will Nico Shakiris be the guy, and all of these things, and now it's kind of falling all apart. But that loss against the Galaxy with a team that had one less player was tough to watch. That's another team that I don't know what they're going to need to do in order to kind of find that groove again. And LAFC, man, look, Colorado. I love Mark Dos Santos. I think that he is a guy that can definitely put it together, but he is under fire right now. And I don't think he's making his life any easier by making certain changes. I still think that there is a lot of some of those big star players that are not carrying their weight, and that ultimately is going to cost you. But yeah, man, some interesting matchups over there for sure.
And let's take a peek at what's going to be happening this weekend. And early on, LAG, get this, they got an early game. LAG moves all the way over to Montreal to take on CF Montreal. They're a dog at a plus 200. Montreal favored at a plus 116 at Stade Saputo. We mentioned Seattle.
Really?
Massive dog, Seattle. We mentioned them. You think they should be plus 400. They're only a plus 301. Messi and friends are going to be without Ian Fred or Yannick Bright at present. Toronto's going to be without Walker Zimmerman at New Stadium, and Messi and friends are favored at a minus 263, as they should. RSL travels east to take on the purple team at a plus 234. Orlando City a minus 111. Nashville's got Crew. Houston's in St. Louis. Dallas gets to go to Vancouver. Vancouver's a minus 217. San Diego FC favored slightly, minus 104. Colorado's big on the plus side at plus 234. LAFC hosting Portland. San Jose's hosting Minnesota. Where do you want to go?
Ooh-wee. That's some interesting ones. I'll tell you without you telling me anything. That LA Galaxy one, I'm kind of interested in, and I know that what you've seen from him is not a lot. But Montreal, regardless of getting a little bit of push and finding themselves in some good games, I like see Sanchez obviously part of that team now, and that was a good game. I think they're good in transition, but I don't know, that one caught my eye. What's the LA Galaxy underdog?
Plus 200 at CF Montreal.
Yeah, I don't know why, and maybe I'm gonna be off on this one, but that one is my gut pick of the week. On that one, I like that. Possibly again more as a gut one. What about the RSL Orlando?
RSL is a plus 234. Purple team is a minus 111. Draw is a plus 309.
I like that draw, and I know that those are high numbers, but Orlando, you saw it against Chicago. I mean, they're a team that can get this balance very quickly. They have a difficult time in transition. I think that those are things that RSL does pretty well. Um, if anything, RSL has been leaking a lot of goals, but they could also give it back to you. It's going to be a whole new world without Gazo for this RSL team. But I do think that they have some game makers, and I think that as Luna continues to get along and find his form, yeah, man. I mean that game against Dallas was kind of back and forth. You give it to me, I give it to you. Yeah, I like that draw. Let me in on that draw. I'm going kind of bizarre today, but I'm taking that. I'm taking that for sure. I'm not touching the Cincinnati Seattle game as much as it is there. Um, how about we try that LAFC Portland game and give me the goal compos for that one as well.
Okay, LAFC is a minus 156. Draw is a plus 328. Portland is a plus 340. So everyone viewing this one right now as a get-right game for LAFC after what happened last night. 2.5 is a minus 244. 3.5 is a plus 104. So it flips at plus 3.5.
I don't know. No, I don't like it. I'm staying away from it. I'm staying away from that one for sure. No way I'm taking that at all. But I mean, look, that's going to be an interesting matchup. There's two teams that can be hard to decipher. I mentioned Portland kind of on an uphill, but I don't see LAFC just kind of laying down for this one. They've been very good defensively as well, despite of the results and how people won. And they've called Mark DeSantis a liar because he said that he was going to be an offensive type of coach. And look, he kind of figured out that you could be organized and come up with some really good results. So yeah, that's a tough one. That might be one that I think LAFC is going to win, but I don't see anything worth my time there in the juice boxes. But let's go with the last one. Let's go with the Vancouver Dallas. Let me get that one. That's another one that was calling my name.
Okay, Vancouver and Dallas. Vancouver a minus 217. Draws a plus 361. FC Dallas a plus 479.
Oh man, you're killing me. With these. Well, what about the goal compost on now?
That's where I was dialing it up. So let's take a peek here and see what we got. 2.5 is a minus 208. They're thinking goals here. 3.5 is a plus 120. So that's where it flips pretty much.
Well, 3.5. I'll take the 3.5. I'll go nice and simple on that one. I think it'll turn there. That's going to be a good game, and I do expect that one. Especially Vancouver coming after this game where they have to be extremely frustrated. And, Jasper Sorensen is a guy that whenever he sees a team that's getting too comfortable, too steady, he knows exactly what knobs to move around, what buttons to push. And so I think that there's going to be a lot of goals in this particular game against Dallas. That's going to be a fun one. I like that. That 6:30 game is a good one.
Okay, so here's one that I just dialed up just because, and it's the goal compost for St. Louis City and Houston. Considering the run that Houston has been on defensively, they're on the road at St. Louis City. Over under 1.5 is a plus 280.
Ooh.
If you went 1-0 Houston at a plus 280, could you live with that?
I can live with that. Actually, I like that a lot too. That's a good one.
So
I like
under
that.
one,
As a matter of fact,
under 1.5, Houston and St. Louis City, under 1.5 plus 280.
I'll take it. I like that. I'll give that 1-0. That 1-0 on Houston. Absolutely. That's actually a real good one. I'm writing that one for sure. We're gonna get that as a lock of the week right there. I like that.
Wow. Broke out the lock of the week on that one. Wow.
I like that.
Wow. Have to keep an eye on that. All right. So hit me. What's going on, Pulso Sports, and what do we need to follow and watch and be a part of and listen to with you over the next little bit?
Yeah, so we have a really good conversation. It's not a conversation now that I think about it because he actually ended up being on the Zoom. But if you want to hear what Facundo Torres had to say yesterday about the win, a goal that he got here in Seattle, kind of the difficulty that he's had in Austin, kind of with a new system and putting it all together, as well as a very interesting conversation about Diego Forlan taking over in Uruguay. Him and Diego Forlan had a relationship. He called him the coach that's helped him the most throughout his career, and so because obviously in Peñarol, and so it's a really cool conversation. But it's not a conversation; it's more of like a scrum with everyone and for the Zoom of everyone else that was there. But we had some particular questions here in Seattle that we wanted to ask him specifically about that. So that was pretty cool. You can find that at Pulso Sports. We're going to have obviously everything that we got after the game. Stu Hawkins talked. Brian Smetzer talked. He tried to lie to me about Jackson Reagan. I don't know if you saw that. I asked him why you sent them back out there. I was like, why did you send him back there? Oh, he's fine. So I was like, there's no injury because he came off and he's like, well, he hyperextended his knee, it was sore. And I was like, okay. And then later, I wasn't part of this scrum, but apparently Danny Musovsky was like, yeah, there's going to be an MRI on Jackson Reagan. I was like, oh, okay, well, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out where that goes. So if you want to check that out, that's going to be on Pulso Sports. Then, of course, tomorrow, Friday, we're going to be doing What We Learned This Week with Jeremiah Oshan. Go ahead and check that out. It's under our heart and it's under our podcast network.
What he said. All the things. As always, my friend, it's great to see you on your Thursdays. Enjoy that second cup of coffee. I know that it's kind of long in the tooth this season, just like it is over here. But we love seeing you on Thursdays, and we love you very much, and we'll catch up with you again next week.
Appreciate y'all.